What's up? I've been racking my mind about how I want to do the engine on the S10. So I have half-assed mocked this up, and I have a checklist I want to buzz through. The argument is, if I want to run an ATI procharger specifically, I'm not talking about like a Vortec or anything else. I want to go procharger. If not, it would be turbo. I want to kind of run through pros and cons of each of them. I haven't really necessarily made up my mind. I know which one I'm leaning towards. I don't know. I don't know why. I really don't. But maybe somebody else could talk me in or out of either of them. Maybe somebody could talk me into nitrous. I don't know. Not really into nitrous, but maybe somebody can convince me otherwise. I want to run through a short little list I made. Not quite sure how I want to do it yet, so bear with me. I kind of started making this video before, and I was just staring at the engine the whole time and rambling on. So now you're staring at me and the engine. So at least you can see me talking, I guess. I am going to pick you up and walk you around and kind of show you how I want to run the turbo for ease. I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. There's obviously going to be some fabrication. Nobody makes a turbo kit for a 4.3 except for like sci-tie. Awesome parts, but I don't have that kind of money, and I'm more of a do-it-yourself kind of guy anyways. We'll see how it goes. I'll run you through the idea. I think it's going to work pretty good if I go that route. So let's hit this list real quick, and then I'll run you through how I want to route that, and then how the procharger would sit. And I know everyone's like, oh, they don't make a procharger, a variety of supercharger kits for the 4.3, but everyone forgets that the 4.3 is the same setup as a small block, a 350. I mean, the head and everything on the front is pretty much the same. You might have to modify just a little bit, but I mean, they run the same accessories, they run the same transmissions. You can make it work. Start off with the turbo. I kind of hit on this before. There's going to be a lot of custom fabrication in it. No one makes anything to make this happen except for sci-tie, or if you can find cyclone, typhoon stuff, which is A, hard to find, B, when you find it, it's salty. Even on Amazon, like old rusty typhoon manifolds, they're still $1,000. There's that oil line, which isn't really that big of a deal because the oil pan's already off. So I mean, it's not that big of a deal to drill and tap that. Downside, the engine and the turbocharger share the same oil. So if there's catastrophic failure in the engine, the turbo is gone too. It's likely gone. Procharger, self-contained. I can destroy engine after that thing, and so long as I have a bracket, I can put that on anything. Intercooler. I have an idea that I want to do just for like fun's sake, I think. First things first though, with carburetors, depending on your application, how much boost, blah 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 blah, you don't necessarily have to run an intercooler because the air and the fuel atomizes outside of the engine and actually cools the incoming air. So you don't. Most guys don't. I see so many blown carburetor guys not running it. I probably would anyways. I mean, cooler air is more power, and I already have to fabricate anything anyways, so why not put one in here? And my intercooler idea was I was going to try and find just like a cheap factory, like a Kia or like a GTI. I know there's like a bunch of like factory intercoolers that kind of like tuck down in the corner, and that's the route I wanted to go, just for kind of laugh factor. And I mean, if it cools at a couple degrees, and it will, but that's also kind of a budget-minded thing. I mean, how many of those guys are upgrading those? You know, all of them. Anybody who buys one of those as a car guy is upgrading their turbo stuff, and half the time those probably get thrown away. So, downside, room. It's going to take up a lot of room. I am running mini tubs in the front of my truck, and you know I can cut and wave them, notch where I have to, but obviously a turbo takes up a lot of room. Procharger is just self-contained and right here. The super plus side of the turbo setup, I mean, even though there's going to be some fabrication costs a little bit, I mean, I can at least get stuff tacked up and then have somebody else weld it up real nice. I'm not that good at welder. I can just, somebody else would have to finish anything I start. But parts wise, again, like the intercooler, I can probably source a lot of this stuff from my friends. I mean, I know a lot of people who have upgraded the turbos and again and again and again, and they're just running different setups. So my buddies have turbo parts laying everywhere. Yeah, I can probably source my blow-off valve, wastegate, turbo, intercooler I want for relatively cheap. As where the procharger would probably be what, 35 on up, straightforward. But plus side to that is you get warranty. You know, these are all used parts. Wouldn't expect my buddies to warranty any used shit I bought from them, obviously. So, you can buy used stuff, build it cheap, see what happens. May run a long time, may not. Procharger brand new, you got a warranty on some of your stuff. So, there is that. I don't know what that is. Oh, I already went over that. Procharger. I may or may not have mentioned this or not. And I'll pop up a video, or not a video, but a picture. The 4.3 liter V6 from GM is literally the same as a small block Chevy V8 350. The bore, stroke, they use the same accessories, same transmission, they use the same valve train. So, in theory, any supercharger, procharger, accessory thing that fits a 350 is going to fit a 4.3. I'll put up a picture of that right. Bam! How's that? See that? I leave that up long enough for you? So, you got to see. The front of a 350 and the front of a 4.3 are the same. There might be a little bit of offset. I don't know. You can make it work. Simply make it work. I think the hardest part of the procharger would likely be maybe having to source your accessories, because obviously I want an alternator, I want power steering. That's all I need. I'm not looking for air conditioning, anything fancy. It's going to be a fun race truck, obviously. That's it. Bam. I already went over the procharger being self-contained, so I mean, I can roach engine after engine with that thing, and so long as I maintain that procharger, I can keep on doing it. Just keep getting brackets. So that's a super cool thing, you know. If I blow an engine with that turbo on it, you know, at that very least the turbo's junk. You know, the most expensive part of her turbo kit is gone. The other thing is there's a huge variety in turbos, and you can mix and match them and make them spool to the pressure and faster, slower, whatever you want to do with the turbo, you can make it happen. I'm only looking at running probably 14 pounds tops, at least for a while. I'll probably get bored with it and start wanting to crank it up, and then eventually the engine will die, but that's the story of every race truck, isn't it? Race car, race truck. Downside with the turbo, you normally have lag, regardless. I mean, you can get a really good setup, you can get really crazy with tuning, but this isn't going to be an advanced setup. It's going to be a carbureted setup. It's going to be a manual boost controller. You know, it's going to be controlled. It's going to be controlled by springs, you know, off the wastegate. So that's it. It'll have a wide band on it, so I can control, or not control, but monitor. Obviously, I'm going to need to know where I'm at, but that's going to be it. There's not going to be anything crazy on this. Very, very old school mechanical turbo V6. Same thing with the procharger. Upside, downside. Again, you typically have turbo lag with a turbo. Procharger, you have boost now. I mean, as soon as I rump on it, I have boost, and that's that. I mean, I can let off and get right back onto it, and I have that constant boost if I want it. That's a super, super cool feature. However, I don't know boost variations via pulleys. I know that Procharger makes a handful of different blowers that can handle up to what, 2,000 plus horsepower, I think. I think the kit that I had looked at was capable of supporting like 700 or it was like 770 or something like that. But I think the factory pulley only went to, I don't know, was it 7 pounds? I think it was under 9. And I did see that they do carry, obviously, a different pulley selection. I couldn't find what boost levels they were to increase or support or anything. All it was the diameter of the pulley. So I'm sure that's just a phone call or a little bit more research away. Probably we jump on a forum or something, but that's about all I got to talk about on this list. I want to run you through how I want to do the turbo setup the cheapest way I think I can. Pretty sure it'll work real nice. Kind of just mimicking a GNX or Cyclone turbo setup. GM did it. Why can't I do it? So I'm going to walk you through that real quick. So before anyone starts giving me a hard time, these are actually factory Fox body exhaust manifolds that are on here for just example's sake. It just so happened that 2 bolt holes lined up on the flanges on each side. So there's that. Again, if you've not seen the front of a 4.3 V6, but you have seen the front of a 350, they're going to look a lot alike. So, alright, jump onto this turbo setup. My plan first is just to get this running carbureted, which is obviously going to stay, and just NA form and put some miles on it and run it through all of its RPMs. Once I'm comfortable beating on it in NA form, then we'll start slinging some boost at it. But I just want to buy a set of headers, obviously, at first. This actually is facing upwards, but it would be facing downwards in reality. What I want to do, if you'll notice, get the exhaust ports right here, where my fingers are, see them? And then see how they're close together, right here? And then this guy is much further away he is. Okay, note that these two are close, this one's far. And then jump over here. See? Ooh shit, ooh shit. The back two are close, the back two, and then the front one is spaced. So, sorry, let me put this guy back in here real quick. Oop. Maybe. Get in there. Come on. I'm just there for display sake. Just chill. Just chill. Chill. Okay. Alright, so the plan would to be basically buy either 2 sets of headers or see if they would sell me 2 driver side headers. Because what I can actually do is, again, this one's supposed to run down this way towards the firewall or towards the ground, back of the vehicle, however you want to say it. But like I just showed you the exhaust ports, the way they're set up, you can actually take this one and turn it to look like this, and this one is facing the correct direction. So the plan would to be, and like I said, I'm stealing this from the GNX and the Typhoon and Cyclones. They actually just took this exhaust manifold and ran it down around your imaginary transmission here, and then brought it up next to this exhaust manifold and tied them all together. I don't remember exactly where they tied together, but that's how they did that. And my plan would basically be, depending on whether or not I can fit the turbo down here. I don't think I'll be able to, and I kind of want it more here-ish anyways. We'll see. Shit, the easiest route would really be to probably slice this off, V-band it, route this up, probably V-band, same thing on that exhaust manifold, and then a V-band the crossover pipe. So this would be removable. This section of pipe right here and this section of pipe would all be removable. And then the turbo, I don't know, we'd make it work somewhere in this vicinity. Again, I'd like it to be sitting up here for cool factor. I mean, what's cooler than popping a hood and fucking boom, turbo? But I don't know. We'll see. It wouldn't be that hard to really, again, cut this off and V-band it, and we can turn this in directions. And I mean, whatever you want to do, you can do, so long as you can make it happen. But that's that. I haven't really got my intercooler situation figured out. I've just been racking my mind about how I want to route this. I think this is going to be the easiest route turbo-wise. Again, there's fabrication. I'm going to have to run an oil line. May or may not have to run an intercooler. 14 pounds of boost. Probably wouldn't have to, but I don't know if I would or not. Procharger's way more simple. It's literally a bracket. I don't know if it ties up all 3 of the holes on the head right here. And I think it might tie into right here in front of the timing cover, or it might grab that guy. But and then the Procharger just mounts right there, and then you just bam, right into your carburetor. That's it. I mean, again, you can run an intercooler on that if you want to, but I'm obviously, judging by my description and enthusiasm towards it, I'm leaning towards the Procharger. They also make a really cool noise. I mean, I know turbos make all kinds of cool, fun noises and get the spool and all that, blah, 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 blah. Well, Prochargers have their own similar sounds. You still get the blow-off valve, you still get the whine, but even at idle, I don't know if you've ever heard a nasty, like, Procharger idling, but, oh, it's such a beautiful sound. Let me know what you guys think. Share this video. I want some genuine opinions. And if someone else wants to make some relevant points about both of those, or if someone can convince me into a Vortec, I think what Windjammer makes a kit for Vortec, I think. Someone can talk me into nitrous. One way or another, I'm looking at very least 425 at the wheels with this thing. And I'm keeping it basic mechanical. You will not, you absolutely will not, under no circumstances, talk me into fuel injection of any sort. EFI, none. It's getting a carburetor. Period. An old style, like, blow through carb. So that's happening. That's one thing you will not change. Let's hear it. Share the video. Comment. Let me hear your opinions. Let me hear.